Wait, so
Just to be on the safe
we're
side, just in case.
Alright. So, yo. Welcome back. As you see, we have two new
It's hard not to sit like
guests with us today.
so comfy.
My pal DN and my pal Imani Lee are here with us today. B, welcome back, baby. Welcome back.
Thank you.
You were dealing with this one.
Yes, sir.
The trio is back as well. And I finally found a question that we can talk about. So it's a pretty dense one. I literally just asked it just now as we started recording. So it's pretty fresh to us all, but I know we have a lot of different opinions about it. So the question is it better to know the truth, or is ignorance truly bliss? And that's that's pretty dense, because I know it's something we talk about on the regular, like, you know, when we talk about society and just people being oblivious and unaware, and people that know the truth, you know, those are the ones that are considered the crazy ones and things of that nature. And, you know, there are people out there that truly believe that ignorance is bliss, but I know there are people on the other side that would rather know the truth. So my friends, what do you think? Like, would you rather know the truth, or is it better to live knowing the truth, or is ignorance truly bliss? You could take that in any direction you want to take
so,
it.
Yes, I'll start because I was just saying something.
The pre-podcast.
Back to pre-podcast.
Nah, but for me, bro, I just feel like, from my personal stuff, like, I just rather know the truth no matter how hard it is. Obviously, you're gonna be looked at as crazy, because if we're talking about the Matrix, which I would love to incorporate into it, knowing that all of this is BS. To me, like, I'd rather know that, how harsh it is, because then I can plot to move up out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I can be aware and I can start to change. Of course, when everybody else is looking at you like you're crazy, it's frustrating, because you know the truth and you're like, bro, like, this is a matrix, like, get out of it. But so obviously it's frustrating when you're trying to get people out, but you can save yourself. Now that you're aware. When you're aware, change can be done.
Yeah.
But if you're never aware, you can't make the change. So people think a lot of times not knowing would just be better, but for me, in reality, how is it better? And I would love for somebody to answer that question. You know, if you guys have answers in the comments, but like, I just don't see why ignorance is bliss. Like, I just don't get it. Maybe you guys can explain that position to me, but I just don't understand the bliss in it, because you're still suffering. Right? If we're talking about the Matrix, and you're caught in and you're being ignorant, you're still suffering from it. So it doesn't, like, how is it bliss? Because you are still suffering, even within that.
I would say ignorance, you're not technically... So we talked about this, I think, a little bit the other day. You are unaware that you're suffering. So are you technically suffering if you're unaware that you're suffering?
So I challenge this in the sense of, like, in society today, right? Just because you're unaware you're suffering, you're still suffering.
Yeah.
You're just not aware of it.
Yeah, so
You're a slave.
That's why
you're a
it's
slave
blissful.
no matter if you're aware or unaware. You're still a slave.
but that's why it's blissful, because you're unaware that you're suffering. So if you're not attached to the suffering, I can see how somebody would say it's blissful, because you technically don't realize that what you're experiencing is suffering. People that are aware, people that are woke and have cracked the code to the Matrix, they're like, oh, you're suffering. But if somebody's ignorant to it, it's blissful for them, because they're not aware that they're suffering.
Somebody got to
Does that
explain,
make
because
sense?
you're still suffering even if you're
In
unaware.
the grand scheme of things, I agree with you. You are suffering, but I guess to that person, it's blissful, because they're not aware that they're suffering, so they're not attached to that pain. If that makes sense.
You're caught up in the Matrix of for some people, not everybody. So I'm just going to talk to those who are caught up in it. But you're caught up into doing something you hate to do, job, for example, right? You're caught up into it. Now, whether you're aware that you're part of this cycle of being caught into this lifestyle of doing things you hate to do,
like
you're still suffering in that day to day. You're complaining about it. You're still suffering.
Right, exactly.
And then the person who's aware of it is suffering too. But he's like, or she's like, all right, I'm aware of this, and I'm gonna start making changes.
Yeah.
So you're both suffering. Even if you're not aware of it, you're still suffering, because you're still complaining about it. You're still waking up like, I don't want to do this. So you're still suffering no matter what. And so I guess I'm just trying to figure out, like, I've always wondered in that question, how is the ignorance bliss? Because no matter what, you're still going through the suffering.
I think Imani is.
I think that people have, you know, I'm a person who loves my fantasy worlds, but I think people also in real life make this narrative, and you start to feed that narrative so much that you do get caught and you don't feel like, you know, it's ignorance, because you're just like, no, this is what I painted. This is what it's supposed to be like. Say if like I was dating you and you were horrible to me, but I'm like, oh my gosh, no, like he gave me like a pretzel today, so that means he likes me. Like you start to lie to yourself, and you keep doing this to the point where you can't bear yourself out. So I don't want you to tell me that you don't like me. Like I know, like there's signs, but I'm also looking at all the other signs to make it seem like, you know, maybe it can curve this way. So I think sometimes people create these narratives and they stick with it. It's kind of like when you lie and you have to lie and you have to lie again, you have to lie again. You're doing that in that stage. So
when
that's why I think
when you're being ignorant.
Right. So I feel like ignorant is bliss. Like when you start to create your own storyline, your own, instead of just being like, tell me the truth. You prefer your narrative.
Right.
You don't, you know?
So it fits into what you want,
Really,
what you want, your fantasy.
Because ignorance is you choosing to believe something, even though you could believe something else. It's not like you just don't know. It's just you choose to believe that thing.
Because reality is actually harder, and they don't want to deal with the difficulty of reality. So like they would prefer, they'll make it seem like it's blissful, but they would just prefer that hardship because it's just less difficult.
It's I think people equate the blissfulness to stability and routine. It's bliss because it's easy for you, because that's what you're used
There's
to.
no obstacles.
When you're not aware, you continue to struggle, but when you are aware, you can choose better for yourself.
Set me up. Set me up. I'm like, yo, this is Please yourself. Y'all pulled it up with the comment. I'm like, there's nothing here.
I feel like you're just like,
Right? I'm like, man, I'm shamed right now.
So that's making more. So you're just choosing. This is the fantasy world. This is how you're painting the picture, and you're just making everything conform to this picture.
yes.
And not dealing with the fact that it's not this picture.
We do that a lot. The voice in the back of our head is so loud sometimes and controls so much that like we let it do whatever, and that's when we get stuck in these predicaments where it's like, damn, you should have just told me the truth. Like, no, it was there, but you were listening to all these different things in your head. That's why your brain is very powerful.
Yeah, it is.
So then, you mind, can you tell me, because you was explaining in D2, because you guys, and B, you said it too, so, but can you explain to me a situation in which you're not suffering when you're being ignorant? Even in the example you just gave, where you have this story and you're making it fit from, even though the reality is totally different. Like, how are you, when is there a situation where you're still not suffering? I guess what I'm trying to figure out.
I feel like obviously there's going to be suffering like in the situations, but I feel like if somebody literally does anything, like I guess it's more of like having I can't think of the word, pinpoints, like if someone does something small and you blow it out of proportion every single time, then your suffering seems so small because you're like, oh my gosh, this person did this for me, or you know, they had a conversation with me, or they looked at me. Like you blow certain things out of proportion to make those like suffering seem so small, like minor. So for me, like I always think of dating, like in high school, if a guy did something so small, even though he was probably an asshole to me, I'd be like, oh, well, you know, maybe it's the kid in the sandbox theory. So maybe he does like me because of this, and this. But in reality, he didn't like me. He was just literally being an asshole. You know? So I think it's just like, it's easy for people to ignore it because you also want attention, you also want love, you always want something, so
because you're only looking through your own lens and you can't see what's in front of you.
Right. Like it's like you guys can see something, like we all can see like if someone's being played, but the person in that scenario won't see it because they're in a different space.
But I also think truth is a hard thing for a lot of people to face. So I think that's another reason ignorance is bliss for a lot of people, because the truth is a lot harder.
Yeah,
you really think about it.
It breaks your fantasy.
It breaks your fantasy. Like this is absolute, as you would say. So there's no going around it. Like this is it. it's like if you're not comfortable with yourself and you be showing yourself in the mirror, it's like, damn, like this is it. This is who I am. So I feel like it's the same way. Like when you're shown, when you break out of the matrix and you're shown that everything that you've been enduring doesn't matter and it's trivial, like you've been wasting your time. Like a lot of people can't hear that, so it's better to be ignorant.
Yeah.
It's better to be ignorant to that reality because then you look at your life like, yo, what have I been doing? Like, have I really been alive? Have I just been existing and surviving but not really living? Like that's. Then you start to face yourself.
Yeah, that question is
on you too. That's really fast.
Truth makes you face yourself, and if you can't face yourself, it's
close.
Done. So a lot of people don't want to face themselves. I ran from truth a lot of times in my life, like stuff I knew about myself, and I couldn't deal with it. I ran from it. But we were saying it's more blissful to face yourself, but a lot of people can't. It's more ignorant to ignore the signs. And do all these things because you don't want to face.
It's like a shrink. You need strength.
No, it is.
You don't want to face this possible reality. You're like, nah, this can't be it. I'm not ready for that. And a lot of people can't deal with that. So
I think it's like when you're going on your spiritual journey, you know, you're trying to evolve, but in order to evolve, like you have to face your shit. Like you have to look at every part of you, all the dark aspects of you, and that's the hardest thing in the world. And not everyone's ready for that. So ignorance is bliss for them. And I'm equating ignorance to just unaware, like you're not aware of your life, you're not conscious.
I don't say it with any negative connotation to it.
Like I just think you're not aware of what's really going on.
You're not choosing to be aware.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
Exactly.
Damn.
So.
I also think it's also ego and pride too.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
we're
some things where it's like, oh, okay, you're gonna play me like that, or go back to drawing board. Like that's hard enough in itself. Like imagine you are trying to build yourself, and then something happens, and then you have to go back to the drawing board. You're kind of like, okay, I'm defeated. I don't want to do this anymore. So sometimes you're just like, I don't want to hear the truth because it's like I feel like I'm going in the right direction, and that might take me 10 steps back too. I don't know. It's hard. I guess I'm thinking of scenarios that I went through and why I didn't want to hear the truth. But now being where I'm at, hearing the truth is way better.
Liberating,
it's way liberating. But when you're growing up, you kind of just want everything to like mold into what you want it to be.
You want it to fulfill the matrix. It's feeding the matrix. Your ignorance is feeding the matrix.
Because it's part of the illusion. It could be something minor, like I was thinking about the example you gave with like, you know, creating your own reality. I look at it as a simple thing, is like even procrastinating is a part of being ignorant, being blissful. Like I'll have homework and I know when it's due and I won't do it. I'll push it off because my reality is so good right now. I don't want to, you know, disrupt it with the truth that, I gotta sit down and do my homework. So I'll push it off until I'm good with my reality, until I have to face it no matter what. So that's why I see it can be blissful, because those days where I'm not doing my homework, I'm having fun. Road trips, Call of Duty, like all this. I'm having a lot of fun and I'm not thinking about my homework. But then that homework comes and I'm like, damn, I gotta face it now. So that's just a minor example in which me being ignorant to my homework is a blissful experience for me.
So I think to answer your question, it's not true bliss. It's temporary bliss. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's gonna be temporary. You know what I mean? It's not real bliss. How long it'll last, I don't know. It could last a long time. But it's not gonna last forever. So like,
one
I
day
think
you'll wake up.
exactly.
It's like the truth always comes out eventually.
It's absolute.
That's how the universe works.
Somebody's always seeking it. So
Truth will set you free. Darkness comes to light. You know what I'm saying? That's like that's just facts. Like it's gonna happen.
And it's always shown in history.
Always.
So you're just kind of delaying. You're just trying to delay truth as long as you can.
You're delaying the inevitable.
It's like it's inevitable, but you're just delaying it. Like as long as you can.
And I love what you said about temporary bliss. Because it's gonna happen. Truth is
because it's not saying it's not real blissful. You are happy in those moments. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you gotta turn that assignment in. You know what I mean? Same, I got that too.
Gotta sit down and do my
homework. I got time to play, like I'm chilling, like do whatever I want. But then like, it's like, oh, I gotta deal with this, or it's not gonna be good for me. You know what I mean?
And then the longer you choose not to deal with it, the harder it hits.
Exactly.
When you try to do that essay last minute, you get like this, like,
and I do
God.
I need to pay someone to do this.
It's gonna-
right now.
And for people even in the Matrix, and we refer to like the corporate structure,
like soul.
yeah,
You know,
realize
so
it's
hard,
too
so
late.
late in your life. It's
Yeah.
like,
And it's hard to get out of your
And
way.
that's
how do I
what delaying
change?
it
Like,
does.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
damn.
he's like, yo, what's next? And you
Mhm.
gave up
Yeah.
all of your life. So
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Where we just keep
Uh.
resetting the clock on ignorance,
Exactly.
and then truth just hits you all at once.
Yeah, you just hit the snooze.
And sometimes
Until you're 65, 70, and then
What
you're
did the
like,
guy say? He said, "I'm alive."
Right.
like,
And
you're on,
sometimes-
because you gotta wake up at a certain point.
You have. Yeah.
you know, referring
Yeah,
back to
just
soul,
snoozing it.
sometimes the truth is death.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, true.
You know, like you finally wake up when you die for a lot of, you know, that's what I believe. Like,
Mm.
you know, whatever you believed in your human reality, that doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Mm.
Right. You can't take it with you, and it's like, but you gotta remember.
You know,
that
I think
death
that's
is
what it
part
means.
of
Like,
life.
it's your
Mhm.
bliss
It
is
is part of
temporary.
life.
You will one day have to face what.
Exactly. Wow, that's deep. I didn't even think of it like that. Everything is temporary. So it's like,
Everything.
would you rather? Would you rather live in a
Nothing
A
matters.
temporary-
That's a hard thing to
temporary-
face.
Yeah.
Would you rather live in a temporary? Or a temporary rent? You know what I'm saying?
The double
Right,
temporary.
you know, it's like,
Yeah.
you will live in a temporary,
Right.
temporary?
It's like you have one life. You have one
A
life.
matrix within a matrix, a simulation within a
That's
simulation.
facts, and we make it within our
Damn.
own minds. It's like you have one life, and it's like, are you gonna choose? Like, really gonna waste it
Yeah.
Yeah.
living in this? It's already temporary.
It's already
Yeah.
temporary.
Why would you do that?
And then
to
you're
yourself?
Right,
all
why-
on
Yeah.
top of that,
In this
within
within the
box
false
in your
world?
brain, it's crazy.
Yo, that reminds me of Rick and Morty when there
Yeah.
was in the car battery.
Yeah.
When one universe, and then
Yeah.
there was another universe inside of it, and it's like,
literally like that.
It's infinite.
It's like literally just think of your
You just
life like,
traded-
every time you decided to just let something just roll over. Like it literally feels like that. You're
it
like,
does.
and then you're like, oh shoot, you know,
Yeah.
every time, and it happens a lot.
Yeah, in a temporary.
Right?
Temporary.
That's deep.
Like,
Damn.
That's
It's like
deep stuff.
Inception, man. You're so
Yeah.
many, you're so many layers.
nah,
in.
yes.
there's some layers
You
in.
lose, you lose track of what's real, but that's the matrix. Like
Is
what's
this real?
yeah, I know. Is this real?
I'm sitting here looking at you guys like,
But that's why.
I'm still stuck when B hit the temporary. I was like,
temporary,
this
like,
is all temporary. And then people are making the temporary of the temporary.
Right?
I'm like,
What layer of temporary are we
What do you want to
living
live
at, bro?
in? You know?
No, that is.
That's really true.
It's
like how temporary you gonna be?
Right?
like, chill. Daddy, chill.
You know what I'm saying? B? I'm like, damn, what? How temporary you gonna be?
Yo,
That should be a question growing up. Like, how temporary you gonna be?
How temporary do you want to be?
How temporary you
You're like
gonna
5
be?
years old, like
Temporary.
temporary.
It's time I hit you with this question.
It's passed down for generations.
Look,
You know, my grandpa once told
Past a
me.
certain age, you get asked a question.
look, son, look, daughter. You finally reached the age. Now I gotta ask you, how temporary you gonna be? You stand there like,
Yo.
Yeah, man.
It's true. I mean, so
Yeah.
it's a complex question.
But it really is like Inception. Like,
Yeah.
the deeper you go down, the more you lose sense of what's
Yeah.
real. What part of reality am I on?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's.
Mm.
yeah.
So I would rather wake up.
yo,
I
so
feel
what?
like crab's coming to mind. What was that? Just
Oh my God.
you gotta go with what you're saying.
I would rather wake up. I would rather wake up. Like the truth and
Yeah.
ignorance part, I play that into waking up and being asleep. I'd
Yeah,
rather
literally.
WandaVision.
No,
Yeah,
literally,
WandaVision.
they're all.
If you're not watching
unconscious.
WandaVision, please
Watch one.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just
It
I was
deals
thinking about
exactly
talking about
with
that.
this.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Literally.
Like, what has Monica Rambeau been saying?
Yeah.
You have to face your
You have to
truth.
face your own
Yeah.
truth.
Vision's not coming back.
Yeah.
My mom isn't coming back.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't live in this false reality my whole life. Like it's just
Yeah.
you have to deal with
It's
it.
temporary.
And she's suffering so much
Yeah. Or she won't deal with the.
because she won't
Mhm.
deal with
Deal with
reality.
Mm-hmm.
And because like
Ooh,
that's
that
true.
was perfect.
That's really true.
So
But it eats at you.
Yeah, because
Oh,
life wants
definitely.
you to wake
Oh,
up.
you
Life
have to,
wants
and
you
you
to
have to,
experience
right?
things. And when you're blocking growth, you're suffering. Period.
Mhm.
If you're resisting like leveling up, like you're suffering, you're stuck at that level. You're stuck there. Game over. Like,
And that can't, but that can't happen.
Oh, yo.
That that can't happen.
What do you
You
mean?
can't stay this. Life doesn't work like that.
Mhm.
Everything is constantly changing. You
Everything
can't
changes.
stay the same.
Yeah, either you can
You're really
consciously-
resisting. That's why it hurts. That's why like you are literally suffering because you
Yeah.
can't. In life,
Yeah.
everything changes. You
Everything-
can't name one thing that hasn't
everything is always
changed.
evolving.
Truth is change? Is that what we're saying?
It's off of like parable of the sower. Like
Yeah.
you can't not
Resist
change.
Can't escape
life.
change.
Like you have to change. So people just carry
Ooh.
around this resistance to change, and that's why they suffer so much because you have to change. You
Yeah.
I
have
think
to.
this with technology.
Mhm.
Right.
We see that a lot
All
when
the
people
time.
refuse to adapt to technology. I'm like
You have
I know
to.
things are different, but this is the future.
Mhm.
Like you
Yeah.
have to. I always say adapt or die. Like you have to.
That's the
adapt,
world we live in.
Or die.
or you're going
It's
to
so
Yeah.
true.
die. We
No,
see that in
literally.
sports. If you don't adapt
See
your
in
game,
sports. I was just thinking about sports
Shit,
movies.
stuff happens
bro,
in
if
the
you don't
game.
adapt your game,
Yeah.
the league is 3-point
It's
shooting now.
exactly.
If you can't shoot, bro,
You're obsolete.
you're obsolete.
It's
Yeah.
so true.
It's
It's literally everything. Politics, everything. You
yeah.
have to
It's
be
just
able
people
to.
don't want to change.
No.
so ignorance
But
to me
the
isn't
change
bliss.
will always
Mhm.
occur still,
Yeah.
and that's when it's hard because when you're aware, you can.
I never like why we both looking at each other. I'm like,
Why do we act like change does not happen? Like, why are we always so shocked?
Yo,
about it?
we
Like,
are
it happens
stunned about
every
change.
single
Right.
day.
Because it's
every
every
day. Every day.
Yeah.
The weather
Yeah.
changes. Like,
Yeah.
everything changes every
Like,
day.
I
a
think
new
of this.
day.
Yeah.
Like winter really be hitting us. Like upstate, we're like, why is it snowing? Like, bro, it snows in upstate New York. Like, why are we acting like this is new?
Yo,
Like,
every
Yo,
year.
really?
We're
Like,
like, we're
Like,
getting
it's
12
crazy.
inches of snow this year. Winter storm was warning. Like, it happened last
Like,
year.
we're-
it happens
yeah,
last year, but
like
we
it's
act
a-
like it's something new. Like it
it's
happens.
a freaking simulation.
No, but
bro.
the Matrix,
Bro, we're
the
on a
Matrix
loop.
doesn't want you to change. though.
Literally. No, and that's why we're looping. But what you just said.
No, I'm sorry because I was thinking like in my head. I said this to D. I was like, yo, I was thinking even for example, class, right?
Yeah.
In class, and even whatever we do, we all change at different rates too. Everybody changes
Yeah,
at a different
yeah,
rate. So
yeah.
I'm like conforming to teaching a syllabus at the same pace. What if some people get the subject quicker?
Mm-hmm.
What if some people get the subject a little slower? Nothing's wrong with that.
Yeah.
But it's like I feel like with the Matrix, it's the conformity that
Mm.
we all. It doesn't. And then when you get, it doesn't want you to change in
Mhm.
a way.
The Matrix
It kinda
doesn't
wants
want
Because
you
if you
to
change, you can break it.
But life
Change
wants you to
is
change.
evolution. So if you change, you can end up breaking the code. So it doesn't want you to change. Per
Yeah, the Matrix wants you to be the same.
Because if you evolve, you break out of it. That's why we're dumbed down in society.
Yeah.
Because if everybody was aware,
Exactly.
we break out of the cycle.
You would break out of the cycle.
Yeah.
There would be no more Matrix.
It's like with slaves, they had to take
Dude.
away your ability
Yes.
to read and stuff like that. Because if you knew your history, if you knew how to
Yeah.
read, if you were educated,
We have to stop
you would
change.
break-
But
Yeah.
you would change from that.
Yeah.
We have to
gotta
stop you
that.
from evolving. Like we
Yeah.
gotta dumb you down.
That's
No
crazy.
reading, none of this. Because
Yeah.
if
Oh
you're
my
smart and
God.
aware,
I'm over here just
Yo.
thinking about us just
Yeah.
being kids and being
Mhm.
in our households and like getting taught this lifestyle, then going
Yeah.
to school, and then like think about it, like if you're born in the Caribbean, you come to America, you go to school system. Now it's like, oh, your accent, you got to change that, you got to change this, blah blah, blah, and you're conforming to it. But that's you.
That's you.
That's you. But
Mhm.
now you're conforming to this society standard.
Yeah.
Then down the line, like your community's like sell out.
Mhm.
You're, you know, like it's just
Yeah.
like every day we are literally changing,
Mm.
and
Every day.
whether that's good or bad.
Right.
yeah, change is good nor bad.
Yeah.
It's good nor bad. It's just
Yeah,
change.
it's just change.
Depends on the person.
And all
It's up to
Right.
people to
All
shape
people-
Your
change.
change could be good to you, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, mine,
Yeah,
that's
it's
not.
whack.
No, that's not it.
That's
Yeah.
not it.
Yeah.
Bro.
And going back to
change
your
yourself
politics.
again. You're just like,
Mhm. Going back to your like politics
Yeah.
part, like think about it. A lot of the major people who tried to invoke change were
Mhm.
taken out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
all the time.
You know what I'm saying? Like
The Matrix
Abraham
don't
Lincoln.
want you to
Bro,
change. They
Abraham
kill you for
Lincoln.
changing.
Martin Luther King.
Frederick,
The-
not Frederick.
I was
He
gonna
did
say,
that.
The
But
Kennedys,
Martin,
like
Yeah.
it's deep.
Yeah.
It's like
It's
yo,
really, it's deeply rooted.
Mhm. Deeply rooted. Like
Yeah,
The system, man.
Malcolm.
mhm.
you can't.
The-
They won't allow you to
Damn.
escape it.
Yeah.
The peep man.
And
Like the
people-
Matrix, all the bots come to you once they figure it out. They on him all the time.
Yeah.
Like they gotta stop you from breaking out of it.
Mhm.
Yeah. And the ignorance
All
feeds
the
into
people.
it so much.
Yeah.
I'm over here
Any
like,
pushback, it's like
Literally.
And it ties into cancel culture, everything we were saying. If you don't conform to what's happening,
you're canceled.
Something's happening. Like, it's so
Yo, we really are in the Matrix. Like, I know we've talked about it, but right now,
breaking it down like this, I'm like,
we're really in the Matrix.
This is a Matrix.
Like, we're really in the Matrix.
Right.
Yo,
no, the fact that you really just said cancel culture, because that's actually funny, because if you really try to change, like, obviously, like, we're using Malcolm X and everyone else, like, they died, but really think about it, like, a community of people really come after you for having a different opinion. And again, it could be bad, it could be good. But the fact is, like, you literally can die, like, you could live and still, like, be, like, cast off and
and that makes people want to die.
Yeah,
exactly.
But the people who die are the ones who wake up people's minds, if you really think about it.
Yeah.
Like, the people that really get taken out are the ones that preach awareness and knowledge. Those are the ones that really get targeted.
So
I'm just like, yo, this is like changing. It's but I'm just like, bro, everything changes every day.
Yes.
Like when we meet tomorrow, we're all different people.
After this conversation,
we're different.
People.
Yeah.
But like it won't let you change. People won't let you change. Like you said, why am I apologizing for something 10 years ago? Like I'm not even the same person.
Exactly.
Like that is literally like a different person. I've changed. Like I'm not even.
Right.
Why am I apologizing for something that I'm not?
Exactly.
Because that would mean I'm that person and I'm not.
Exactly.
If I'm apologizing.
And I meant what I said 10 years ago when I said it.
Even if I was ignorant.
Even if I was ignorant, I said it. Like, why am I apologizing to conform to make you feel better?
Exactly.
And not allowing me to change. It was like, I know it's about to go to a commercial break, but I remember one time my little brother said something about my past self, and it offended me because I was like, yo, you don't even like know me. He's like, I know you. I'm like, bro, I haven't lived with you in like 4 years. I'm your brother, but you know you're latching onto my past identity, what you knew me as. And I was like, so that's why I was saying people won't allow you to change, because I was like, he was saying something, and I was like, bro, that's not me. He was like, that what? I'm like, bro,
you don't even relate to what he's talking about.
People keep you in a box. Like you keep yourself in a box, but society also. So you have a box, and society has you another box. When you open that box, you're like, damn, and then you try to cut out that box. There's another box. Like your friends yesterday saying, "Oh, you're an alcoholic." You're like, bro, I don't even drink like that.
I'm a drunk.
What are you talking about? I'm like, I drink wine now, but damn,
I'm like, it's like you don't know a person because a person doesn't truly know themselves, because every day we're changing. So it's like you think you know me, but you don't know me. You knew me from 2 days ago, or a week ago, or 6 months ago. I'm changing all the time. So
let's take a quick commercial break. Quick commercial break.
Now,
we gotta continue with that thought, bro.
I'm sorry, but that shit was in there.
He was introducing his.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Oh, wait. Yo, turn it on. Oh, we back.
So
we're back. Break. Omar's really excited about something.
I'm hot. I got 2 of them.
All right.
But before I dive in, this whole years and stuff, it goes back to, once again, the society's version of everything, right? Time is this year, 2 years, but literally, I feel like your time is how quick you change.
Right. Your frequency.
Right.
Yeah. We've been talking about that, how we haven't felt like we've been ahead of time.
Yeah.
But you are ahead. Like your time is different. Like
you're on a different type.
Your year,
your growth is like this,
bro. So it literally, because you have all these reference points. It's like no. Like I was different then. Like because you evolve so much. Like you're moving at a quicker. Your change. Your time is literally different. Where if somebody took a year to change, think about how long of that process. Like their reference point is so much slower. So it's like, damn. Like,
your physical body changed, but your consciousness stayed the same.
Yes.
That's why when people are older, they talk about the same shit that they talked about when they were 18.
Like their time
stayed when they were 18.
They're literally, their time is literally stopped.
That's so true. Yo, that's crazy.
That's funny, because I always say this about my family. I have members that are like,
damn, dude, that's what you be trying to preach to us? It really hit me. I'm like,
it's crazy. Yeah, I feel like you're stuck in a time because you feel like you didn't really do what you really wanted to do in that time. So I feel like you always reflect. Like, say if you lost someone, you're always gonna stay in that year because
you haven't evolved past
it. You haven't evolved past it. You can't get past it. Like, for example, my mom, my uncle, and my aunt, like development-wise, they're still stuck at like my aunt being 18, my mom being in her 20s because they lost my grandmother, and they are still stuck there
every day.
Every day, they just can't get out of that.
I want to give an example of this because I had this like realization at work. So at work one day, I was just like, you know, I was zoning out, and someone's like, Sharon, where are you? I physically was at work, but my mind was like in the past.
Yeah.
And when you're living in the past, you're literally living that reality.
Yeah.
It's just you're physically here, but you're not in the present moment, so you're not experiencing the present moment.
Yeah.
So you're still in 2007.
Yep.
Basically, if you're gonna talk about it like your consciousness is, it's experiencing that time.
It's reliving.
Yeah, it's reliving it.
Yeah.
That ties into the ignorance of
Ignorance
bliss.
Yeah.
is being bliss.
Your reality is here, but your mind is somewhere else.
You're
And it's
not in
like,
the present moment.
whether it's something traumatic or you know, that was a better time in your life. You feel like
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of
Like
people
there's
do.
no more better
Like,
This
days.
was the best time of my life.
The best year, you know, like
Is that because there is no evolution in those?
Because you're not.
like you're not getting new experiences. Like when I tell you
There's no
collecting
change.
experiences,
Yeah.
like you're not gaining any new perspective, any new wisdom.
Yeah.
There's
so
no
you're-
change.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly, exactly.
Wow.
Your time is literally how often do you change?
I'm
Literally.
amazed because I know grown adults that are
The
stuck
same.
Yep.
in their past self,
It's like they're
their
stuck
past
in like
version of life.
limbo, like
Yeah.
they're just
Yeah.
there,
right.
and
So
like
is time change? Because our time was only based off
But
of
time
change.
doesn't exist. though.
Time
Time doesn't
only
exist.
exists because of change.
Time's a construct, but
Time is a
change is the
construct.
only
Yes.
thing that because
Yeah,
we've
right?
created time to measure change.
Change.
yeah,
Yes,
it's,
exactly.
no, time is
Yes.
literally in physics. It's like
So
Yeah.
your time is literally how
much
often do
distance
you
can cover,
change?
like,
Yes.
over
How much
here.
distance you can cover?
Yeah, like that's how we like measure
So
time is how much distance we can cover.
Yes.
Ah.
So that's why I said our time is moving because just look how much distance you're covering.
Like
You're
you know,
changing.
from Albany to here, we say it's 2 hours time because that's the distance.
Right.
Like I don't know, like on physics term, it goes into depth of it, but that's what it really is. That's how we measure things by where we are now in time and space, and then where we are in another place in time and space. But everything's always happening
is really a
simultaneously.
construct.
We're
That
just
is deep.
Time is
consciously only
it's a
aware of it
self.
right
Time
now.
is self.
Time is self.
Yeah, exactly.
Time is dependent on change.
On
Like,
change.
it's not-
There's no
it's not-
time without change.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
So
Change is
people
the
are
only
in a
thing that
past
measures time.
time because they've
Yeah,
never
of
changed.
course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Time is
Like
only
there's
measurable
only the
from
present
change.
moment, right?
Yeah.
So if you've never changed, you're always stuck in.
If you never
Yeah.
change, you're literally in the same time.
Right.
You've never got out of that time.
Yeah.
Right.
Sheesh.
But we just use it like D said, cover because you can see you can see the change when you going from New York to Cali. You can measure it, so that's why we use the hours.
So
Yeah.
2 hours passed or whatever, like
But in our own growth, right, there has to be change in order to measure
Yeah.
time. There has to be a distance that was covered. So if you've never changed, you literally are stuck in time. Like you're literally stuck in that time period.
Yeah.
You've never gotten out of 2015. Like
Right.
yeah.
it's 20. Like we're in a.
Right.
So technically, you're not even in 2021.
Because you're never really
No.
present.
Right.
Yeah,
Never
but then.
truly present. Yeah.
But then
Oh
again,
my
are you
God.
ever in the year that you're in? Because what if I'm changing?
Bravo.
Like change is literally
But that's
dependent
why-
upon self.
but
Like
there's a
how
phrase.
quick do you
Yeah.
change?
You're ahead of your time.
Exactly.
You're
You know what I'm
ahead of your
saying?
time.
So
Yeah.
Or your
So
your
iPhone
iPhone.
is ahead of its
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
Exactly.
Like yeah. Wow.
When you're ahead of time,
I'm saying it, but it's not. I'm like this,
No.
bro.
I just want to say this too. It's what I was talking about last time, like our
Yeah.
frequency and time. Like when you're ahead of time, when you're vibrating at a higher frequency, you experience time faster. So we experience things happening faster, our evolution, our growth, and like stuff like that. But people who aren't evolving, they're more at like a steady frequency, so they experience time like at a steady state.
Yeah.
And that's just
I'm
speaking of
looking
like
at the
energy
waves.
and frequency, and like if you guys know like the spectrum, when it goes faster, it's it's moving faster, so you experience things faster. Like
Yeah.
opportunities grow, things come to you faster.
Yeah.
Think of the
Versus when
waves.
you're not, when you're in lower vibration, experiencing the same thing over and over again, you're not really
I'm slowly
growing.
I believe that, and I can subscribe to that because earlier Imani was showing me like some of our memories together, and I'm like, yo, this is ages ago. And you look at the time, it's like this was 6 months ago, 4 months ago, and I'm like, I was like, yo, I felt like that was years ago.
But it was to you. Like,
Because we've been growing at an exponential
Oh
rate.
my gosh! You remember when I said? Remember when I was like, "Yo, like your vids for the past 2 weeks have been dope."
Yeah.
It was 4 days. I'm like, I'm like, you tell me you haven't been producing content?
I checked the YouTube. It was 5 days. I was like, bro, it hasn't even
I
been
was
a
like, you
week.
guys have motivated me for the past 2 weeks. I'm like, and then like, now we just started like on Sunday, bro.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, no, you didn't. Like stop.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? It was really hard for me to understand.
Say that.
It's crazy,
It feels
right?
like you've been on your podcast journey for how long? It's been
Bro,
2 months.
it's been 2 months.
Not even.
When you
Not
break
even
it down,
2
it's
months.
like,
Not even.
it's been a
YouTube
month.
started last week.
Right.
Right.
I posted our first video a month ago.
Literally started
crazy.
last week.
That's
Podcast started. I think the first episode I did with my dad was the day after the Capitol shooting. So that was
Money hasn't
literally
been a
last
month.
month.
We literally started
Wow.
YouTube
Bro,
in
my
the beginning of
podcast-
February.
I feel like
Wow.
I've been podcasting forever.
It has,
What?
It hasn't been that long.
Bro, because we've been
I'm like a
changing
recurring
so
guest.
fast.
Yeah.
What?
Dang, this is B's third episode already. Like,
That's crazy.
that is crazy.
And that's what
Perfect.
happens when you don't live in the Matrix. Time works on your own
Yo,
schedule.
it's just, and that's
You
what
know
I
what I
wanted to
mean?
say about work. Like, the fact that you change. We like to say like you got to stay there for a year, 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah,
Bro, but
bullshit.
literally, if you are somebody who evolves quick,
You can.
think about how much that is to you. When somebody said, "Yo, you got to stay somewhere for 2 years," I'm like, Do you know how much I can evolve in 2 years?
It's like 2 years. What?
Like, cause people know words. Because we move on a different time.
Yeah.
People say a year to me, and I'm like,
A year's ages to me.
I was like, you know how much
Year.
can happen in a year?
Yeah.
I'm like, you see this month? Look at this month. I'm like, this, bro. I don't even remember this month. Like, when did I start YouTubing?
No,
bro?
like, the month's already
It's
over,
March,
bro.
Bro,
It's
think about how
March.
much you've accomplished in 1 month, bro. Think about how much you've
And they
accomplished
say
in a
2
month.
years. That's why at our job, I don't understand. People be like there for 5 in the same
10
standard.
I don't get it because I'm like, if you're
We were talking
changing,
about like anniversaries, and there is no judgment at all. But like, I was seeing like 10 years, and I'm like, damn, like we're celebrating 10 years of like conformity
And punching in and out.
punching in and out, and not diminishing that person's hard work or none of that.
Yeah.
Like that, I mean, that is a great accomplishment
Yeah.
to people. But I'm like, damn, like think about how different I'll be in 10 years.
Right.
Yeah.
This would not be my journey. Like my journey changes.
Yeah.
Bro, my interests change
Bro, being
daily.
so
Like
fast.
they know, bro. You know, my interests change daily. Like I might really want to do something today, and then the next day I'm like, no.
but my
That was
point
fun.
is,
That was
is
good.
that that's
You know what I mean?
okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, and when we grow up college and stuff, you can't keep changing. You can because
Yeah.
you change literally every day. Like
Yeah.
it's okay. We in society we look down upon people that change
Absolutely.
so often. Like yo, you just keep changing up. It's like
I
that's
can't keep
cool.
up.
Like I'm,
You know what's
Yeah.
crazy? We look at the term used for people like that is flaky.
yeah,
Or
you
It's like, why is that-
You're not
wishy-washy.
reliable.
Wishy-washy.
That is
Jack of
so-
all trades.
So far from
Yeah.
the truth. Like
we even look down on the change.
Yeah.
We come up with
Right.
names,
Yeah,
yo.
you change
Wishy-washy.
too much,
You
bro.
change up, bro.
You
You
do-
change
you
up.
do
But
too
that's
much.
just to keep you in line, though. That's just
Yeah.
to keep you in check.
Back to the Matrix. It wants you to change, bro.
It's part of the code, bro. If you're changing, the code is set to attack you and keep you still. And
Yeah, society doesn't like a
Yo,
free
you
spirit.
changing up,
They
bro.
don't like
You
free
change
That's why I
up every
hate
day,
them,
bro.
everything.
They don't like a free spirit.
Society
like,
hates
they
free
want,
spirit.
They're like, be creative.
Oh, they
but
can't
with it,
stand
Right,
free
yeah.
spirit.
but not,
Within
not too
these
creative.
boundaries.
yeah,
Right.
please don't go out of that
Not too
circle.
creative,
Chill
yeah.
out.
Free spirits are the ones who prefer truth
Mm-hmm.
over ignorance.
Yeah.
And they
So it
live
all-
a good life.
Yeah.
It all stems back.
Yo, this change thing is crazy.
Nah, it's
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna start using time, bro. Like,
Not just
I'm
change.
sorry, I'm just gonna start
Literally,
saying
just-
change. Like, when was the last time you changed,
Every
bro?
day.
Bro, when was the last time you changed? Bro, let's
Not when's the last time I
see
seen you.
that.
When's the last time you changed?
Yeah, bro, yeah, right? When's the last time I see? Nah, bro. When's the last time you changed, bro?
Oh. Imagine you started hating people that they like.
I'd be like,
That's
this.
what it is, bro. I have to always do it. You gotta do it like that.
I changed the toothpaste I used this morning.
Yo, that's a start.
That's a
But
start.
think about how real that is. Somebody you have to really reflect. Like, that's how you'll know how much, like, who you're talking to,
Yeah.
what space they're at. Like, when was the last time you changed? Like,
Yeah, and that's how you
Where
are,
people-
bro.
I'm sorry, it sounds crazy, but it's like, bro, like,
No, it's-
I can tell you, I changed yesterday. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm no longer that person
Right.
anymore. Like,
Yeah.
this is.
And you know what's the cool thing? I don't know if y'all can agree, but like I'll be aware of how I change within the day.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
So you guys ever pick up on that? Like you
Yeah.
know how you changed
Yes.
today. You like, okay, I changed in X, Y, and Z ways today,
Mm-hmm.
and then tomorrow you know you're a different person.
Yeah.
Mine is my trigger points. Like I'll notice, like, okay, that didn't annoy me.
Yeah.
Changing,
Mhm.
or
Exactly.
maybe I do get triggered. I'm like, damn.
But still changing. It's like you're oscillating
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
these. Like,
Yeah.
like you're just
Mm.
one day you're this person, and another day you're this person, but you're still you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
you're
always-
always the
Yeah.
consciousness
Yeah.
there.
Mm-hmm.
It's always
Yeah.
just
Like,
different
I
stages of
would
consciousness.
Yeah.
I personally would. Like, I wouldn't want to be the person
Or
I
your
was a year
experience.
ago or
Yeah,
6 months
exactly.
ago. Like, I like where I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who
Mm.
wants to be like 21-year-old self for the rest of their lives?
Exactly.
Like, that just sounds like a train
And
wreck.
people do.
They'd be like, yeah,
Mhm.
21
It
was
was
my
my prime
golden year, was
time.
my prime
Yeah.
time. High
Yeah.
school was my prime time. I had all the girls.
Super
I'm not
sad.
gonna lie, I still know people that still talk about high school,
Same.
and I'll be like, bro, I don't even. Like, I feel like so
True.
much. Not even feel like so much has happened in my life since high school that I don't
I don't
even
even
remember.
remember.
Some
No,
of
it's
it.
like
I don't even remember the feeling
It's
sometimes.
not
I'm
a
like,
part of me anymore.
Exactly.
like I'm, I'm like, I'm like, wait, even if you say college to me, sometimes I'll be like, wait, huh?
Yeah.
Like I
Right.
feel like so
Yeah,
much life has happened
yeah.
since college, and I'm like,
That's true. I don't
There's
even
so much
think about
Like,
Yeah,
you
I'm
reminisce
like,
and talk about, like,
same.
we're talking about college town and stuff like that, but it's like, people will be like, remember you were wearing this outfit, da, da, da,
This-
da, da, da.
But
You'd
when
be
you
like,
think about it, you
no.
remember how different you were. Like, you were a
That's what I
totally
think about.
different
How different I
person,
was.
Like,
completely different person.
totally different person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But some people just don't like to let go. They like
Yeah.
that. They're like, come
Because
with
they
me.
refuse to
To
change.
Yeah, you should change.
They're too comfortable.
Man.
I don't know, like, but I just
Ignorance
don't
is
understand
bliss
how you
'cause
would
people
want to
refuse to
be that
change.
person.
Still.
bro, because It's comfort, it's literally-
It's fear of the future because the
With
future is
fear of
scary.
uncertainty.
Yeah, the
It's
future is
uncertainty.
It's gonna come though. That's
Exactly.
the thing. It's not like they're like, oh, you're gonna be your same self.
It's inevitable.
My
The
future still pops up.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's why we have a lot of mental health disorders like anxiety. We're afraid of what's coming tomorrow, so we
Mhm.
need to create routine so we know what will happen tomorrow.
Because we fear uncertainty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we fear the change.
That's why death. We fear it's it's uncharted territory. We
Mhm.
don't know what's on
And
the other
because
side.
we don't know,
so
we think
fear
it's
it.
bad.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's because we don't know. So that's why we
You're
always
gonna
yearn
change,
for we
literally.
always yearn for control because we want to know what's next. Like
Mhm.
you said, we want that system in our routine because we gotta know what happens
Yeah.
next.
At 4 o'clock, I have this appointment. And
Exactly.
I know that.
And I do this by 5 o'clock, and I do this by 6 o'clock, and I'm in bed by 9 o'clock. Like that's
Yeah.
people set up their routine for the day, their
Yeah, bro.
itinerary because they
you,
used to
you can't
control
but
what happens.
now that I
next.
think about it, you can't control. Like you can't stay the same. Like
Mhm.
you'll eventually just have to change.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
inevitable. And it
Yeah.
goes back to
No,
B
they
saying how temporary, like bro.
Yeah. You to operate at your highest level, you have,
Have
to change.
change. Or
Otherwise, you
won't.
will stay stagnant,
Yeah.
running in a loop.
Mm.
Can you stay
Exactly.
stagnant? Is the question.
Yo.
Yes.
Can you avoid? But when we
Can you
say that
avoid
everything
change?
changes, can you stay stagnant?
I think.
You can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
No, go. Yeah.
I was gonna say I think you can stay stagnant,
In certain categories.
but
Yeah.
it's the time period of staying stagnant is different for everybody,
Mm.
and that's essentially where regret comes from. So it's
Right.
like it's good if I stay stagnant for 5 years, right? It sucks, but I'll be 30. I'll be fine. And I wake up, at least I woke up at 30. Some people wake up till they're 60, 65.
And they can't at
And
that
that's
point.
where they're
almost.
like, they look back and they're like,
Damn.
damn, I'm awake now, I'm grateful, but I wish I would have woke up earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
I
some
think you will wake up. though.
Yeah, or some people like they'll be like, okay, I'm very successful, you know, or whatever, but they're still like stuck in like when they're 16 as far as like their dating lives or like how society
Mhm.
will like look at them. So it's like you can excel in a lot of categories, but then there's that one thing that you're just like still stuck in like 1998
That's
or
so
whatever.
true.
Mhm.
Mm.
You know?
Mhm.
So D,
I mean,
to go off of your concept, and I'm taking it to the fact that I guess time, the frequency, because if life is change, it's inevitable. If you just change, you're doing what life wants.
It's a natural
So
order of life
you're-
that humans resist.
It rewards you for changing because that's what it is.
It is,
Life
yeah.
is just change. So
Yeah,
if you're changing,
yeah.
you're doing what life wants, and it's like reward. Here you
Yeah.
go.
Exactly, and that's
yeah.
the beauty of
That's
it.
deep.
That's really the beauty
That's
of
life.
it.
It's literally changed. So you just have to. The game is just
I got it.
It's off of D. I'm just like, it's
Yeah,
working for me. I'm like,
okay,
if life is change, you really just have to change. And
And
that's
if
what
you
DB's
don't,
saying.
like,
Now I
you're-
get it. When you just start changing, look how rapid it happens
Yeah.
because you're doing what life wants you to do.
Mm-hmm.
It just
Exactly.
wants you to change. That's just, think about it. Your state, you just change. Like everything, matter is neither created nor destroyed.
Mhm.
It just changes.
Mhm.
Like that's all it is. Nothing ever gets
Yeah.
destroyed. Nothing's ever created. It just transforms. You just
Yeah.
have to.
No, yeah.
But that's the thing,
Yeah.
when you're
Mhm.
blocking change, you're still the same person, but you suffer the consequences.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
you're like, you could lose loved ones,
Mm.
things are constantly changing,
That's a
but
natural
you're,
selection.
it's like,
Mhm.
I hate to say it, but it's that stereotypical grumpy old man or woman. They're just grumpy because of their whole lives
Right.
and the same thought patterns that they're having. Like, they used to think this way in high school, and they still think the same way. They're just applying it to their new environment.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know,
And that doesn't
exactly
work.
the same.
Stuff
Because natural selection, you'll
Yeah.
see species die off because they don't change.
Yeah.
Because the environment
mentally. I mean, you'll
The
die
environment
eventually.
changes, and if you're not changing with it, eventually you're just gonna get canceled out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have to eventually change.
You have to change it. I mean,
That's why
like-
humans have lasted
yeah.
so long. We've changed when this environment kept changing.
Yes.
We've adapted, and that's
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
we stayed
Yeah.
relevant to
Yeah.
this day. Is because we've adapted
Yeah.
to when circumstances change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to,
You have to.
or you will
So-
just.
You will.
That's basically self-love too, in a sense, and changing and understanding,
Mhm.
and then that's when
That's
the
it.
universe aligns with you because you're
Yeah.
putting that out.
Yeah.
It
No,
starts with-
exactly.
It starts with self, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because life
but
is an individual experience.
they all
so
like
it starts with
interlude
self.
with you,
Yeah.
with one another. Because if you literally put the energy out in the earth and world, it
comes
comes
back.
back in a
It comes
form
back
or
to-
some way somehow. Like,
Yeah.
It could
That's
be
why
positive
people
or
say,
negative.
like, follow your dreams and
Yeah,
everything will
listen.
fall into line.
Yeah, this topic went deep enough.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, damn.
Layers to it.
layers, yeah. Because that's how like people are always like stuck in the past because they don't love themselves fully. Like they just want to be
Mm-hmm.
hurt. They want to hurt, or they just it's wow.
You're running from yourself,
You're running
but
from
how
yourself.
long can you run from yourself?
Some people
Right.
can run a long
How
ass
temporary
time.
you-
They will.
People can
They
run,
can run a
bro.
long
Until
ass
they
time.
die.
Bro,
They
So
you'll
they die. So they die. You'll be on your
Until they
deathbed.
die again.
D
Running
just
from
said it,
yourself.
bro. You'll be running till you die.
You'll be on your deathbed.
And then
Like
you
I-
still will be
running.
in the afterlife, still running too.
It's
Like,
just from
Don't
yourself.
wake up.
Because even a hell loop, a
Damn.
hell loop is just you running through the same cycle of
Yeah.
what tortured you the most.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if what
And-
tortured you the most was you being ignorant and
Yeah.
running from yourself, that's gonna be your loop of just running and running and running.
Damn.
And
Mm. Ignorance is not bliss.
yeah.
No.
But it's crazy because
Bliss,
you're
bro, it's not
running,
it.
but you're on the treadmill running.
Right.
Yeah.
You're like a mouse in the wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're running going nowhere.
Yeah, and your true self is just looking at you like this.
Right.
Waiting for you to-
changing,
Waiting for you to
not.
come
You're
crazy.
not.
over
You're
it.
putting in all this work thinking you're
You're
changing.
changing and you're not changing because
Yeah,
you're
literally the same
crazy,
spot.
'cause I learned that in physics.
So is that-
Oh my God, that's
Not
crazy.
deja vu. Would it be deja vu? Because deja vu is more you experienced this before, but
Ooh, that's deep.
No, it's literally like you think you're changing because you're running, but
Mhm.
you're literally on the
Your
treadmill.
displacement
You're
is
just
zero. You were here and then you're still in the same place.
Right.
yeah.
You
but
didn't go.
you said
You
you
didn't
think
go
you're
anywhere.
changing. So are you kind of being fed some of the same experiences to try to get you to get
Yeah,
the
no,
message?
literally, that's how
You get what I'm
the
saying?
works, bro. Like,
get what I'm saying,
I
right?
really want to say this because on a spiritual level, not if everyone believes it or not, like our soul came here to learn something. Like we have certain purposes in our life, and if we don't wake up to that purpose, we will recycle events and experiences in order to wake the fuck up. And if you
Yeah.
don't wake up in this lifetime, you will wake up in another lifetime.
Mm.
Remember I said that too? I was like, I feel like deja vus are not from this lifetime.
It's
from
from
a
the past. It's like you didn't learn your
You didn't
lesson.
learn your lesson.
Because karma works like that. Karma, you have to deal with that energy. With karma, it's not biased against anyone. You have to deal with whatever you put out.
Yo, you have
So
to
is
change
the-
that. I can't think of anything else, bro.
Yeah, I would say the
have to
goal is to
change.
evolve. and
Yeah.
change.
Instead of making it so hard for yourself, just change, learn your lesson, and move
Yes,
on.
sir.
But if we're putting it like that, then life is literally a mental hell. Because if you
It is.
It
It's all
is.
mental.
Life
Everything's
is
in your
mental
head.
health.
it's mental
Yeah.
hell,
It's
like,
literally just different tasks that you have to conquer, and
but
that's
it's
why
all
I
created by
believe-
yourself.
Yes.
That's the craziest part.
It's is literally. I'm gonna break it down like this because it's so easy for me now.
Yeah.
It's literally just change or die. Like I'm sorry, like die in whatever
But-
way you want.
yeah.
You want to say
Senior
or
suffer.
Yeah.
but change.
But I think it's
Bruh.
what you're saying, dying. But I feel like you come back. Like that's what
Yeah.
where the deja vu thing, and that's why I believe like you don't. I feel like there's different levels, but I feel like you do come back if
Yeah.
you do not conquer what you're supposed to conquer in that life.
Yeah.
Suffering. Let's
And
change.
that's-
Change or suffer.
Yeah.
It's literally like
Because you have to
Yeah.
heal that
Right.
in one way or the other. You have to, because that's like
Mm-hmm.
negative energy.
And it is suffering, not changing, bro.
Yeah.
Have you ever not changed when you
Bro.
know you're supposed to change something? Back to when you were
That's the
speaking earlier about
worst.
relationships
Yes.
and stuff. Like,
Just about
you
to
ever
say.
just held on to it?
Mm-hmm.
It is suffering
It
when you're
is.
not changing.
It is.
Yeah.
That
It's-
shit hurts.
It hurts, bro. You're like,
Mm-hmm.
eat you.
And it's just, and it just won't.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will say, "Oh, why don't you just change?" And it's like it's that fear of the future. It's a fear of change. Change is scary. You know what I mean?
Because it's not the
Because
same.
it's uncertain.
It's
It's
uncertain.
uncertain.
That's what I'm saying. It all ties together. It's
And it
like-
haunts you like
Yeah.
here, and then you have the dream world that haunts you there. Like it just follows you.
Mhm.
Literally, you can go to sleep and your dreams
Yeah.
are like, oh, let's run it back.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
why?
yeah.
Why is this a thing?
Mhm.
And you wake up and it's there.
Mhm.
So it's just always there.
Damn, bro.
We hold
Yo,
ourselves
even
back.
lines like, yo, I'm on a different type of time. Like, it literally, you literally
Yeah.
are. Like,
Yeah.
I'm literally on a different type of time.
Mhm.
We're not. This
Yeah.
Words we just throw around are just
Have
really
so much
hitting me
meaning.
right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm literally on a different type of time.
Mhm.
Like, me and you are not on the same time.
Right.
No.
Yo.
And that's like being that's like being that's like being
bro,
woken up for the
literally-
Matrix. Literally, that's like being woken up for the Matrix. Like,
Literally.
you came back on a different type of time.
You literally,
He was a
yeah.
whole different animal once he got woken up.
And it's crazy because some
You're-
things, when I think of things of being ahead of their time,
Yeah.
some things were revolutionary. Some things like the iPhone, it was ahead of its time, but the world adapted with it. You know what I'm saying? They accepted it. But like, for example, I know YouTubers who were popping back in the day before YouTube was popping.
Yeah.
And now they're irrelevant because the times weren't, they changed faster. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I think that's deep. You know what I mean? There's probably players like a Steph Curry or whatever in back in the day, but they didn't accept them because they were
They were on a different
ahead.
type
They were
of
on a
time.
different type of time.
Yeah.
And sometimes society, a lot of times actually, most of the time society
Most, yeah.
doesn't like that. You know?
Bro, society
That's a
doesn't like
big
when you
part.
move at it. It's-
Yeah.
That's what I said about
It's
class and stuff like that.
Mhm.
When you move on
Yeah.
different type of time, it doesn't mess
Oh,
with you.
you're late. Right up. Like.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Everything's about conformity.
Everything's about conforming to
Like I
their
said,
time.
if
Yeah.
you learn at a quicker pace, the class will not bend to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even though you literally, like you learned it to you, like you just move on a different, it will not. It will say, bro, no, you gotta stick with the schedule I put.
Mm-hmm.
Back to B's point.
Yeah.
If you're advanced, like if you're past the time that society's on, then
Mhm.
don't mess with you.
Yeah.
You get killed for that. People
Yeah.
get gotten killed for that. Like, bro,
Yeah,
you're ahead of this.
literally.
Oh no, you
Mhm.
gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
YouTubers back then, they were probably ahead of their time. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Because
It's
there's
societal-
trends that pop up on YouTube now, and it's like if you literally search it, there are videos from 6-7 years ago that
Yeah.
have like probably 200 and something views.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's like crazy because there would be people be like, that's not important. Like I always like to use natural hair as an example.
being ahead of your time.
Like
It's dangerous.
before, like having 4C hair wasn't popular. Everyone wanted to watch your like
Mhm,
curlier
yeah.
hair, and then now everyone is like, okay, we're all 4C. Where's the
Yeah.
video content? Like
Exactly.
it's been on there, but you guys wanted to watch other content that
Right.
wasn't for you,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
those YouTubers are now over it because
Mhm.
they were ahead of their time.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do when you're ahead of the time? Because that can lead to craziness. That's
Yeah.
like, well, we kind of like the saying of the truth, the ignorance, in the way of when you're ahead of your time, society doesn't accept you yet
Mm-hmm.
because you're ahead.
Right.
And that can be hard to deal with.
Mhm.
So what do you do when you're somebody who moves, you're changing, let's go back, you're changing quicker than society can keep up with?
I have an answer.
Mm.
You get more people who are operating on
Yeah,
that
say
same
that. Where you going?
level of time, because
Yeah.
then the more you expand, the more you can enlighten people to operate on the
Yeah.
same.
Because he might not be able to connect to a person, but he might be able to connect to that person. Then they latch on. Then
Yeah.
someone latches
You
on.
bring
So
a
it just
community together.
Yeah.
You can't do it alone.
Yeah.
Like if
can't. do
You are ignorant. I think you're ignorant if you are awakened and you don't attempt or try to wake other people up. I think that's also another form of ignorance. So I think if you are somebody who's ahead of your time and who knows truth and who has been, woken up from the Matrix, you have to try to wake other people up. That'd be like, waking up is
That's
like,
the
okay,
only
I'm gonna escape or get everybody else in it. Like, you gotta try to get
because that's the
everybody
only
else.
way you'll get this time to match your time.
Yeah, because the more.
Because society's stuck in their time, so we're gonna be operating on our own shared sense of
Seem like
time.
you got something.
Maybe that, I don't know, is that the reason why society changes in the first place? Because of that one person?
It
Even
is.
if they don't accept it
It
at
is.
the time, they still were the trigger point of
Look what Martin
the
Luther
change.
King did for society.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, what if that person didn't
It
wake up?
is the trigger point.
Then maybe it wouldn't,
Yeah.
society wouldn't change. You know what I'm
It
saying?
is.
You have to
So
wake up.
society
Because we
changes
all-
because you changed.
It is because we're all
No,
connected.
yeah, that's
And
right.
that could be good or bad change.
Right.
Though. Like, somebody could just change in a negative way,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
society changes in a negative
Yeah.
way. It just depends, and that's why I said we just need better, idols, leaders,
Yeah.
influencers,
Yeah.
thinkers. We need more people to just wake
Yeah,
society
bring
up.
everyone to the light.
That's what I was saying about
Honestly.
philosophy. That's why I want everybody to get into
Yeah.
philosophy. That will wake you up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Get you
Because
to
once
just-
everyone believes the same thing, that becomes the reality.
That's what these
exactly.
says.
Society
But
is
then-
just a shared sense of
Yeah,
reality.
exactly.
Everybody's sharing the same
Same beliefs. thought
same
patterns,
beliefs. That's
yeah.
what society
Yeah.
is.
And it is a constant cycle because
Yeah.
yes, that's like the good part where
Yeah.
everyone does awaken, but
Yeah.
then there's more awakening to do each
Yeah.
year. And
Yeah.
the problems with humans is we stick to that one awakening
Yeah.
within that year, and then the next year someone else awakens, and then it's like you go through the same thing. Like,
And if you look
It's
at
like-
history, that's what it is. You'll see
Yeah.
the times of enlightenment, dark period.
Yeah,
Enlightenment,
right. Yeah,
because you
yeah.
can. Society gets comfortable at that enlightenment period. When you bring everybody out, it gets
Yeah.
comfortable. It's just
yeah,
like,
get
yeah,
comfortable.
okay.
That's the
And then
word.
you need more.
But you have to keep
motivation
going.
change, yeah.
Yes.
and society gets comfortable quick because
Mhm.
it's like, I bet we're good here.
Yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
think it might be another commercial.
Damn, this
Ooh,
is
was
long.
that my hit?
Girl, my
Commercial break.
Sheesh.
What is it at?
29:05.
Oh, caught it perfect.
I just want to see if it even stops.
Oh, okay, bad.
50 seconds.
Nah, this conversation is hitting my brain.
Yeah, bro.
This is a really good
I
combo.
really got to sit on this.
This shit is hitting my brain.
Bro, so then
I don't.
off of that, and we've been getting to that point, but I'm not going to feel bad because I've changed at a rapid rate than the next person. Like, before, I feel like you would feel bad about it, like you're changing, but
Yeah, but you
things
don't
are.
know
No, society does make you feel bad for changing, and that's what I was asking about. Like, even the open relationship topic. Like, society always tries to make you feel bad for changing. Like, it's natural. Interests change. You
Yeah.
know, thoughts change.
You learn
What
things.
thought did you leave off on?
Huh?
What thought did we leave off on
Just now?
before the break?
That society gets comfortable.
Comfortable with one period of enlightenment.
Mhm.
Ah, yeah.
So crazy.
Yeah.
And it's because, once again, I think also just different type of time.
Mm.
It's the fact that, all right, we made this change, we good.
But it, yeah,
We
it's like,
changed.
this is enough. for
This is
me.
enough
yeah,
change.
yeah, yeah.
Wow,
It's
yeah.
much, yeah.
I just got comfortable enough with this change.
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
Sheesh.
The only way our society will reach the best where we were getting its fullest potential is if we constantly all keep changing.
Mm-hmm.
As a collective, we have to keep changing.
Yeah.
Like, we have to. The only way you'll get to that point is also like what Lauren was saying, is that you have to accept change and look at change as the duty. Like, if we're not changing, we're failing.
Mhm.
Like, that's how we have to be as a society if we want to reach our fullest potential.
Mhm.
Because we get comfortable quick, and obviously that's just how the brain works. It's
Yeah.
comfortable at a certain point.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
just have to keep changing and
Yeah.
changing. Because if,
Balancing.
as long as you don't change, you're not doing what life is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why we
Which is
need those
change.
people to do that.
And I think that's why natural disasters actually happen, because it's just
Yeah, it
wake
is.
up,
Evoke
Yeah,
change.
it is.
listen, like California fires. It's like it's a change. Everything's a
Change needs to
change.
happen.
Yeah.
Texas with the
Yeah.
water and like the
It's tragic,
snow.
but
It's tragic,
It's
but
like
it's
tragic,
important
but
for them to
it
wake
makes
up
you to
and
don't be
change.
comfortable.
change
Yeah,
their
exactly.
infrastructure and everything. Yeah.
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 Exactly.
It's a good example.
And if life is change, it's gonna make you change, and you don't want life to start making you change.
COVID.
Dad says that all the time. You don't want life to make the change for you.
COVID made everybody be like,
Damn, shit
Yeah.
changed up like that.
Like that.
Shit changed overnight.
COVID changed.
And it lasted a long ass time.
It's still here.
We thought quarantine was 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We were in
We're here
quarantine
a year
for all
later.
year.
Right.
A year later, literally.
Insane.
Wow.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it could. But I mean, for us,
Sorry, this is just.
like.
Mind blowing.
Yeah, I'm still like digesting all
But
of
it
it.
makes sense because knowing everybody in this circle right now, I know COVID was a
Bro,
period of
pivotal.
enlightenment
Yeah.
for
Pivotal.
all 5 of us. Like,
Yeah, for most people.
yeah, for a lot of people, you know, because it was forced self-reflection.
Yeah.
Like you had to
You
face
had to
yourself.
face yourself.
Mhm.
All that time, you
Yeah.
had to dig deep
There was
and,
no
and figure
distraction.
yourself out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what the universe wants. It wants you to become enlightened.
Yeah,
It
the
wants
goal
you
is
to
the
become higher consciousness.
Yes.
And sometimes it forces you to go there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Because
is
we
so
just had so many
true.
things
Yeah,
that
it will
was
force
blocking
you to a
that.
certain point.
Yeah.
But
The
also,
collective is not changing.
So everything happens for a reason then.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it needs
Absolutely.
change. Like
yeah.
the reason is change.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, it's change. That's
You
the
have to
reason.
learn.
It's just change, bro.
And flowing effortlessly through that by allowing it to allowing
Everything
change to
happens
just
for a
go
reason.
through you.
Everything literally happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If we put it in the context that we
smallest
did,
Yeah, change. Everything
for a
happens
reason.
because it needs
Yeah.
to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is what it is. It needs to change.
And
You
it's
need to learn.
beautiful
Yeah.
if you allow it.
Back
It
to it.
is.
If you rock with change,
Yeah,
you
and
will pace of
and
what
it's
life
like
wants.
riding a wave, like instead of resisting, when you're resisting the waves instead of riding them in the
You're-
ocean, like
you're going-
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But to wake people up, you would have to get them to stop resisting. I mean, they would have to resist the temptation of uniformity, like stability,
Mhm.
being comfortable. Like they would have to throw away everything
Yeah.
they know,
Mhm.
the system that they built for themselves, the routine, the structure, and they would have to throw all of that away and
Yeah.
do the independent route like that. That's the only way I see people
Yeah.
getting truly awakened.
Yeah.
Until then, ignorance is still going to be bliss for a lot of
Right.
people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why everyone's journey is different. Like people can go to jail and completely have like realization,
Yeah.
Right.
you know, or people can go to the army.
Mhm.
People can go on retreats. People can go to rehab.
Mhm.
People
Yeah.
can just go to college. Like there's
Yeah.
so many
Yeah.
different points,
To
and that's why
become
it's like I don't feel like a person can do that. It has to be yourself.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So you can be around a bunch of people and get inspired, but
Yeah.
you can still be that same person.
Exactly. At the end of the day, you gotta make that decision.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's like being a chameleon completely.
Mm-hmm.
Different type of time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
I'm
so
sorry,
stuck.
Tom.
I'm so stuck on temporary. Might have to
Yeah.
tweet that tonight.
Right.
You know,
How
like
temporary you wanna be?
That is tough, though.
Yo, every time that question gets said, how temporary do you want to be? I'd be like, yeah, that's a real question,
Right.
bro.
It's crazy, right?
Like hearing you say it, I was thinking to myself, like, damn, how temporary do you want to
Right.
be? Like,
As I was saying that, I'm like, I don't even know, like what? Crazy.
Yeah, but it goes back to our goal of humanity segment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
Yeah.
if you don't make an impact,
Mm-hmm.
you're even more temporary than you were to begin with.
Yeah, right. That's so deep.
Like you lived an entire life, yes,
Yeah.
a lifespan, but there's nothing to
What did it
show
was it a
for.
life of significance?
You were just another
Yeah.
part. You were just another part of the Matrix.
Right, right. Are you just
Yeah.
gonna like? I heard someone say like on your tombstone where it has the year you were born,
In-
year you were
in
alive,
between,
what
yeah.
what did you do in the dash?
Yeah, what did you
in that
do
dash?
in the dash?
Everything you did. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like
You know.
what do you
That
want
dash-
that dash to?
the
what
dash
do you want
is the
people
most
to think? We want to
important.
see that.
It's
you can't
crazy
control
though,
this, you can't control that.
because
Yeah.
people focus on the start and the end all the time. Sunrise and sunset. That's all.
Never in
Right.
But
between.
not in between.
It's so
Yeah.
true, which is the most important part.
It's,
You know what I mean?
it's the only thing you have control over.
Yeah.
Right.
Control what you could control.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You can't control when you were born, you can't control when you
You
die.
only
Right.
can control in that
You
space.
and damn.
Mhm.
It's inevitable.
It's inevitable.
Truth is inevitable. Which
Yeah.
is
Change is
change.
inevitable.
Change
Yeah.
is inevitable.
Truth is change.
Yeah.
Changes time.
Or change is truth.
Everything has changed. That's why they said
Yeah.
God has changed in the book. It's just like
Mhm.
Yeah, that's all there is.
So saying that, bro, I'm not gonna lie.
God has changed.
That's
I can
Earthseed,
see
by the
it.
way. That's what Earthseed is. So
Yeah.
I rock with it because I think God has changed. Like
Everything
Like if-
changes.
life is changed. Like everything is just change. I don't know.
It didn't happen. It didn't happen.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
If you're not changing, what do you? I don't know. Like, what do you?
What are you
What are you
doing?
Yeah.
Doing
And
the
you'd be
same
surprised,
thing.
even when we were talking on the pre-pod, it's like how many people you walk by. And it's like, what are they doing? What are they doing?
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many you just, if you could see, like in a video game, it's probably like, they're not even awake. They got the little dreamer thing on
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's
People
probably
are
a lot
on
more people than you
autopilot.
think. Yup.
Living on autopilot, like.
A lot more people
Complaining
than
No
you
about-
think.
offense, that helps with the narrative of people just not being,
Yeah.
yeah,
So true.
completely.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I went to the Target, and the way that people were walking, I started getting agitated because I'm like, are you guys even aware of where you're going? Like people are just like pushing carts, like colliding. I'm just like, yo, are you not here?
Right.
Like, where are you?
You're
like,
not.
put me on.
Literally, so
'cause
true. Like,
they're
so
being
when he was on the
2010
computer.
when
Yeah.
something happened to them, like, you know what I mean? Like,
It's crazy. I'm like, yo, y'all know how to walk? But I'm like, no, people really being like,
in their own world. That
It's either they're trapped in the past or too far in the future.
right.
Never right here.
never right here.
Damn.
That's deep. And then it's like, oh man, you get in the whole conversation about the phones and stuff like that, like, and it's both a beautiful thing and not so beautiful, you know what I mean? It's like, I've experienced, even when it's almost like I felt, if I'm at a concert or someplace that's like cool, like of significance, I almost feel pressure
To
to
post it.
record it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not even here right now. If I'm doing that, I'm not here.
You're
You
not.
get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I felt that, and I've been like, yo, I'm done. Like, let me put this crap away. You know what I mean? Like, because I just want to be present. I want to be there. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
many people aren't. It's
And
like,
I think for you to understand that though, you
Yeah.
have to take a break from it, and not
Right.
like cold turkey for a week. Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
literally have to take time away from it. Like
Mhm.
I wasn't on socials for a year. You two weren't either.
right.
And it's like, were you on?
I always like deactivated my account here and there just
Yeah.
to take a break.
Yeah, because you need to take a break so
For
that you
sure.
can understand to be here. Because if you like, if we went 5 years on social media, then I'm pretty sure the values that we have now are going to be completely different.
Right. Mhm.
Now we're dependent on it. It's a part of me.
Social media is like
So-
a virtual reality in itself. Like
Yeah.
people
Yeah,
are
it is, yeah.
people are who they are on social media, not who they are really in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why people make like fake accounts and
Yeah.
and stuff like that to
Like, yeah.
really truly be
Exactly.
themselves,
Yeah.
which is mad scary because it's just like,
It's
damn,
insane.
you have to log into a separate account to
To be
feel
So be
yourself.
yourself.
But that's dead how it is in real time.
You say yourself isn't enough.
Right.
Right.
It's like
Isn't
literally
I gotta
Halloween
log in to.
all the time.
Right.
Log in. You
I-
wake up in the
yeah.
morning, you're just like,
No, that's a fact. Let me check up on my real life.
Right.
right, let me
right,
check
right,
up on my
right.
real life.
Like,
'cause
what
this
did I
isn't it.
miss?
Yeah.
You're checking people's stories like, oh my gosh, like I'm connecting
Yeah.
with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, queen. Like, no.
Yeah,
Yo, we're really like
we're really in the
like
sauce.
snoozing. Snoozing.
Yeah.
No, but
Living in
even
the
I'm gonna take that to.
have no idea what's going on.
Right.
No,
No.
yeah,
And I'm gonna take that to real time. Like, and when you wake up, you're logging back in.
Mm-hmm.
to the Matrix, yeah.
Yes.
Everything.
But
But
you
that's
know,
what,
you
bro,
think
it's,
in your
it's
dreams,
news.
No, I'm gonna say
All
when
of
you
that
go to sleep,
stuff,
you
bro.
still might be doing like OT.
That's right.
Like you never know.
Yes.
Like that's the crazy part. Like there's
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
you go to
Waking
sleep,
up
it's
is
just like, what's up?
yeah, waking up is logging in, bro. It's
Mhm.
legit a simulation.
Yeah.
Everything, bro.
You
The
literally
news,
log in. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
what you
logging
see on
back
TV,
in.
like you're logging back into the
Work.
Matrix.
Yeah.
The only time you're out of the Matrix is when
Yeah.
Bro,
Yo,
that's why
you gang do wake up like
Yeah.
log back in like.
Yeah.
What?
True presence is damn, I lost. Damn.
D waited. She got.
No,
she
it's
wants you to
fine.
get a word.
No.
Yeah, go,
Yo,
go,
you're like
go.
logging back in.
Yeah, and I think
But
that's
you're logging
why.
back in and then logging back in.
Temporary on the temporary.
Never get a thought in.
I'm
I
sorry.
agree too, but it's just
You
like
was waiting. I'm like,
it's like in just that moment when you wake up, instead of like logging in, if you're able to meditate or if you're able to have your own space, you will automatically wake up slowly. You will start to realize, oh wow, this is what I like. This is my own space. This is who I am. Before you go out the door, because some people will wake up and just go to work. They have no like sense of their reality at
Nothing.
home. Imagine starting your day and then you just wake up and then you're at work.
Logged in.
And you're in that.
You're logged in
And having to
automatically.
process your own feelings, emotions,
Nope.
thoughts, like
And that's why when you go to work and then you're like, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. They're just like, what? You're like, you didn't get to even grasp.
You didn't get to
anything.
live in your own space.
No.
Like logging into the gram, like you just said, when you get to take that break and then walk into the world, it's like the same thing with when you wake up. It's like, bro, like you need the time to let me meditate, eat my breakfast, and then log in. But once you just log in,
you're in it.
Exactly. Because you're logging. Once you do that, and be able to like really be with yourself for a minute before you log in, you're logging in.
That's when you
with
wake
awareness.
With awareness,
you're aware.
like how we joined
in.
Instagram again, but it was like we're aware now. Like it's a difference.
And now we're aware
when
of the
I log
matrix,
in.
and now that's why we're all like, bro, I don't want to be the matrix anymore.
Right,
Because
right,
finally you're like, I don't want to be here. I understand that this is what it is, and I'm awakened to it because I know life outside of it.
Because Neo's still logged into the matrix after he was awake.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to log in
when he was in here.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? He's still logged in.
Like you're
That's
still
it.
logged back in, but you're different.
You have to log in. Like you have to, use these platforms and things like that. Like it's part of society. No, seriously, bro. You gotta log in, but you gotta be in control.
But it's like everything. Like even when we were talking about like food earlier, like how Americans eat and everything, like you can tap out of that and make your own type of like world as far as what you consume. You know, if you want to read, if you want to do fitness, if you want to do whatever, like all of that, it plays a big role.
Yeah. That's why some people fast too. They just want control to know what you need, what you don't need.
That's the whole. That's the whole
It's
purpose.
it's to gain control over self and gain a connection to self.
That's crazy. A lot of people who aren't awakened, they have no control of anything.
Yeah, you're just literally you're snoozing. You're just on autopilot, just going through the motions, and the simulation is just leading you where it's going.
I feel bad because
That's
they
really
wouldn't.
sad.
And it goes back to like they think it's bliss,
Yeah, it's bliss for them, but overall, I don't see.
I'm just sitting here sipping.
I don't see. It's temporary, and how temporary do you want to be?
Exactly.
Yeah, that question is. I
love how
I knew it was a dense question, but I didn't know. I didn't know it was gonna go to these depths. Like,
me neither, bro.
Me neither.
It's bliss for them, but it's temporary bliss.
Yeah.
And then how temporary?
Exactly, because then everything is temporary.
Everything is temporary.
Why would you
how
make
temporary do you want to be? Why make a false reality?
It's temporary.
Yeah, why make a false reality and already false
drug
reality?
Exactly.
With drug addicts?
Yeah, the temporary fix.
Bliss. Temporary bliss.
Right.
So to them, it's the best thing ever, but, to people that are awakened and then people that are thinking long term, you're like, no,
This is not it.
That's not it.
Yeah.
But I think this goes to show that, like...
Damn, but that gets me thinking, you just said drugs, but that's like why you can't even do drugs for too long, because you can't be temporary in the temporary for too long. But
Exactly.
You can't, it's not possible. It is literally only...
And you need someone who's awoke, who's awakened, to snap you out of that.
You need that profit.
Because I mean, maybe you could do it by yourself, but probably you can't actually. You can't. Everyone
You're
is
stuck into it, yeah.
Yo, I'm thinking like you just saying how Neo, like, is that true? Like when he did log back in, he was in complete control. But I look at it like in life, like when you do get out of that matrix and you log back in, and now like you're in control. It's different.
It's different.
It'll bend.
Yeah.
And you won't allow it to use you. You're
using it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when they say don't be a slave to money and have money be a slave to you. Like, you just gotta start using things and stop letting things use you.
Because we getting used a lot. A lot of us are getting used.
Yeah.
It's
just a lot of us is,
90% of us are getting used.
It's like when we were talking about career choices and stuff like that.
Career choices.
How it's like,
when
we were talking about off camera, like how, you ever do that where you lose your train of thought?
Yeah.
It's always the worst, bro. You go
than I was 10 minutes ago.
I change in the day. Like after this conversation, I will go home looking at the world different.
And I don't owe you to be the same. Like I don't owe you.
And that's what we feel.
Like just because you know the old version doesn't mean I have to be that.